Yes, it's Wednesday, March the 17th. Yeah. I can't wait to bring on my special guest today. Pete Fallico's here from the Doodlin Lounge. One of the greatest men on earth. And we've been friends a long time. So I'm just so glad that he agreed to come to the show. So without further ado from me, what a day this has been. What a rare mood I'm in. Well, it's almost like being in love. There's a smile on my face for the whole human race. Why, it's almost like being in love. All the music of life that seems to be from the ringing for me. And when that bell starts to peal, and you know how I feel, why, it's almost like being in love. Yeah. 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 Hey, Toby, how are you? They're red today. Yeah, yeah. Anderson, how are you? Yeah. Sometimes I get lucky, Ava. Fernando, how's it going? Lonnie Nunez. Yeah. St. Patty's Day. No green socks? I didn't even think about it. I'm Italian. What a day this has been. What a rare mood I'm in. Why, it's almost like being in love. There's a smile on my face for the whole human race. Why, it's almost like being in love. All the music of life that seems to be like a bell that's ringing for me. By the way that I feel when that bell starts to peal, well, it's almost like being, almost like being in love. Almost like being in love. Yeah. Happy Wednesday, and I see it's St. Patrick's Day. Happy St. Patrick's Day to all my friends. I guess everybody's Irish today. Okay, I'll take that. Why not, right? Hey, it's so good to see you all today. And I was preparing for this show because I am so happy to have my good friend Pete Fallico, who has a long history in the history of presenting this instrument that I love so much, and I hope that many of you do, the Hammond organ. And I remember that, many of you know that I'm coming up on my 50th anniversary since I started playing professional gigs. And one of my dreams was to be like my mentor, Jimmy Smith. And I kind of thought that dream had faded. I was 30 years into my career, and I met Joey DeFrancesco, and everything changed for me once that happened. He liked my playing, and he said, come on, let me produce a record for you, which ended up being released as Burnin' Grooves, my first official, I guess you could call it, real release, And I started looking on the internet back then, and, we're talking 22 years ago. There wasn't much on the internet like there is today. But I kept looking, and I found this internet website called the Doodlin Lounge. And there looked like there was this really cool guy. And I said, man, I hope someday I get the pleasure to meet him. And I started reaching out, doing the thing that you do to try to make connections with people. And he called me back, and we started to talk. And the next thing I know, I'm on a plane, and I'm flying to the Bay Area, and I'm playing gigs with Pete Fallico. So before I bring him on for the interview, I'd like to take you to his website. Okay, so I want you to go check him out right now. The Doodlin Lounge, Doodlin, Doodlin, lounge.com. Go check him out. Pete's got quite a history in knowing and interviewing and being a radio host, being an MC. And, he's like everybody who knows anything about jazz organ, Pete Fallico. And I was so glad that I was able to finally become friends with him. And I did a lot of gigs in the Bay Area. So without further ado from me, ladies and gentlemen, I present to you my good friend, Pete Fallico. Roll.
Sounds fine with me.
Okay, I'm recording, Pete. So we're in the Doodlin Lounge, man.
You are in the Doodlin Lounge, my little home studio. I call it the Wrong Way Studios.
Man, that's a famous place.
I know, man.
Man.
Listen, it's been my salvation because since the lockdown, KCSM, where I work, is housed within the College of San Mateo, high in the hills of the Bay Area,
Right, Right.
And when they locked it down, we can't get in, those of us who do nighttime programming. So it's on our shoulders to, I create 4 hours a week here in the Doodlin Lounge.
Wow.
And upload it with their software. And then it's always prepared a week in advance.
Ah.
So Wednesday nights, I come on at 6 o'clock West Coast time, 9 o'clock in New York, and go until 10 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the morning in New York.
Wow, that's amazing.
But that's been keeping me busy. That's been keeping me sane, you know?
Thank God, man. What else could we do? I mean, it's so crazy, right?
I know. Hey,
have
listen.
you had any shots yet?
Both of them. Oh, yeah.
Okay, so at least you have. I got one, so I got one more to go, so.
Hey, man, I was on the fence for a while. I didn't, because I wasn't a flu shot kind of guy, you know? Never did it. But then, you know, you think if they're going to mess with you and tell you that you need a shot to get on a plane or something like that, that's all I needed to know. I'm cool. I'm going to get the shot, you know.
Got to go to work, man.
Got to go to work, man. Yeah.
Wow, you look great, Pete. How is everything, man?
Well, it's a little chilly and brisk out here in the Bay Area now, but it's good. No complaints.
Oh, man, it's so good to see you. I miss you. I miss playing gigs out on the West Coast, you know?
Oh, man, you used to come out here and stay with us. How many meals have we had? How many places did we go?
Oh, man.
And, of course, your fan base is still out here waiting for you.
We got to do it. We got to do it. As soon as I get the second shot, I know we just recently started talking. Let's put something together. I'm ready, man. I'm excuse the language, but I'm horny to play, you know?
I'm telling you, everybody is. Now, you know, I still work with Chester Thompson, and I'm trying to find him some gigs around town, but it's just, I don't know, the Bay Area is different. We're going to be the last ones to catch up to everything.
Really?
You know? Yeah, there's no clubs, there's no action, there's nothing going on. People are trying to, what you're doing represents like the creme de la creme, you know. I mean, we're getting such great entertainment and talk interviews and things like this, but it's kind of quiet, man.
Yeah, man, I'll tell you, and even what I'm doing is starting to reach a saturation point because there's only so much you can do without, you know, you need the chance to move around and do different things with different people and different energies. That's part of the game, I think, and I'm looking forward to that just to revitalize my energy, you know.
You need the feedback from the audience.
Absolutely.
I mean, streaming is fine. You know, we did a stream not too long ago. I did a fundraiser for a great jazz venue out here called Bach, the Bach Dancing and Dynamite Society.
Oh, yeah, I remember that place.
So I'm talking to the camera people, you know, because it's an empty room except for the two camera guys, a photographer, me, the MC, and the owner of the place, and then this little trio that we had. And I said, what are you going to do when we go back to live performing with all this equipment that you've invested in? He says, we ain't going back to live performing. I mean, there's people that honestly believe that this streaming thing is the way of the future, and this is what we're going to be facing. I'm not buying it, Tony. I'm not buying it. You guys need that audience feedback, especially an entertainer like yourself, man. You and that audience are locked in, just like a drummer and an organ player, you know?
Yeah, man. I like that analogy. That was a good one, Pete.
Well, I can't imagine you having to play to empty chairs, man.
It's kind of interesting, I'll tell you. You get into the stride. I've been lucky because I put a big screen in front of my keyboard, and I can see all the messages as they come through. So
that's cool.
Yeah, I'm connected with the audience, even though we're like, you know, 30 seconds behind or whatever that is. But to me, it's real time. I just respond. I don't know, you know, how long they get the message back. But, you know, it's kind of interesting. And then you get to see who's coming in and who's not, or who's leaving, you know, because you see as the people come in. But like you said, it's still not the same thing to have, you know, the live audience that grows with the solo and gets into it, and you could feel the energy, and then those moments when things explode. Yeah, you miss all of that. There's definitely that factor's gone, you know.
Oh, hell yeah. Yeah, I mean, getting people to yell back at you. Yeah, baby.
Yeah.
Isn't that part of the music?
I thought so.
Yeah. Well, you made lemonade out of lemons, man. With
thank you,
what
man.
you're doing here, you know.
Yeah, I've been successful in the sense that I've been able to keep my doors open, so to speak, and keep my chops fresh, keep my entertaining chops together. And actually, at the very beginning, when there was what do you call it, the newness of it, people were more generous, and they also had some income coming in. But I can really see, if this is a prediction of how real life is doing, I could really see that people must be really hurting now, because things are kind of like the energies are down and the things have dried up a little bit, quite a bit, as a matter of fact,
Well, you know what? People are tired. It's that cabin fever, we're just getting fed up. Okay, let's move on now.
Time to do the next thing, yeah.
Time to do the next thing.
I feel that.
And, the venues, man, restaurants are tied into this whole thing. Until you let people into a restaurant, how are you going to have money to pay a trio to play for an hour and a half? Everything is, it's this trickle down effect. I hate to use a cliche like that,
but it's true.
But so many people are affected by this thing in so many different ways. We haven't even seen the worst part of it yet.
I hate
people moving out of the Bay Area. I mean, getting out of here in droves, going places because of the economics of the whole situation.
Expensive.
Yeah, and musicians. I was talking to in many of my interviews nowadays, I'm asking people, "What are you doing, man? Are you on the street playing in the cold with all bundled up? For $40?" People don't want to do that.
No.
They want to. I don't know if you heard it, but Eric Alexander was telling me. He says, "Man, I can't make a living. I'm gonna get my realtor license. I'm gonna start, selling houses or something. I got to do something." And it's kind of like desperation for some people, and for other people like yourselves, you're recreating. You're putting something together that is a model for other people. And at the same time, like you say, you're practicing, you're keeping your chops up. Man, you're ready for the city tomorrow.
I'm ready to go, man. And my chops are hot,
Yeah.
But I play a lot every day. I'm teaching. I was fortunate, Pete, that I had, the advantage of living in the Midwest. And so what happened is every time I would come home from the road playing with someone like Pat Martino or Harvey Mason or whoever, or my own thing, there was a lot of time between the next one.
Yeah.
I don't live in a big city where I get picked up real quick, right? And the gigs around here don't pay a whole lot, So it was about 12 years ago that one of my students that wanted to come and visit me helped me set up this system to be able to teach online. So, if there's anything lucky, or if there is such a thing of luck, I think if you wait around long enough, everybody gets lucky sometimes. Well, I kind of got a little bit lucky this time because I was already set up to do what I was already doing.
Yeah.
So all I had to do was add the live stream to the equation, which I was preparing for anyhow.
Yeah.
And so I know that there was a lot of people that were caught off guard. I'll tell you what, man. I mean, here it was February last year. No one knew that this was coming. It was like a tidal wave, right? It would be like that movie, Earthquake. You don't know what's coming,
Yeah.
But all of a sudden, boom, here it is. Man, I'll tell you what, looking back over the last year, it's been weird, man,
Oh, that's putting it mildly. But you were a pioneer in viral instruction for jazz organ. I mean, for anything, actually, but for jazz organ of all things, which is a microcosm within a microcosm.
Small people don't realize how small this market is.
But you had jumped on the horse way before everybody else. So like you say, you were prepared for this in many ways. But I don't think you thought when you were doing that online instruction back then that it was going to get to this state of affairs,
I had no idea that was going to become my living. And it has pulled me through. I mean, thank God to all my students that I built up over the years. And I did some business things. I tell you, this is not the time to raise prices, if you know what I'm saying. So I did a few things to open it up some more so that more people could access it. And, I have to work more hours, but hey, man, I got a job,
Yeah.
So I'm
well, anybody that knows you or your history understands that you're coming out of a business kind of framework, you know. I mean, you're not only your dad's business, but what you were doing. And not that it had anything to do with music, but it prepared you in a business sense. And most musicians, you have to agree with me, they're not so much concerned and they're not that savvy with the business aspect of music, you know. Got to teach yourselves.
They love
but you came into the game swinging the bat, you know.
Oh yeah, you know, thank God. I look back on my life. I didn't know this was going to be more about me, but I look back at my life, and it was those years that I spent in advertising, working as a broadcast assistant for producing commercials. It was that gave me the chops to do the broadcasting, how to make cameras work, how to set up, you know, so that it looks like a finished product, not just a camera hanging over there, you know.
Yeah.
Like, for example, like these things, you know, they're all part of the prop, you know,
Sure.
That's show business, right? Of course, I don't show the can, but you're getting a wide view today. That's my dust buster to clean the keyboards. But what else? And plus then, you know, the skills that I had working in the studios, I've always loved working in the studios. So, you know, when you're broadcasting, not only are you trying to play, but it's got to look good, it's got to feel good, and it's got to sound good, you know.
Yeah, it's so true. You got to sell it because you don't know. People may be listening to organ jazz for the first time, or they might, you know, it's so subjective.
Yeah.
You can approach it objectively, but ultimately it's what people like. And yeah, you're right. There could be a picture behind you on the wall that attracts somebody's attention and they want to know more about it. You just don't know what people, how many musicians have said this? Lou Donaldson told me they see you before they hear you.
Oh, yeah, man.
You know, and they see what you're doing, your body language, your approach to it. You have great presence on stage. You know, you're an amiable person. You're communicative. There's a lot of musicians that, man, they don't even introduce or back announce the songs. They just play, which is fine.
Yeah.
But you got the whole package, Tony Monaco.
Hey, God bless you, Pete. Man, I'm just so happy to see you. I mean, this is the closest we've been in a year, you know.
Oh, man. You used to come out here and we'd hang and do all kinds of things. It was fun. Even Lonnie, Dr. Lonnie, man, I miss him so much. He used to come out here and stay for a week, 2 weeks sometimes.
Yeah.
I mean, things are changing. Like you say, this thing has really turned us upside down, you know.
Man, I know the Doodlin Lounge right there. That's where, remember that record that I made called Fiery Blues?
Absolutely.
Remember you helped me with finding Greasy Spoon?
Yeah.
And what was that tune by Leon Spencer? The Hooker?
Oh, The Hooker. That's right,
Hooker. Yeah. I found that song right in that room where you are.
I know, but what Don Patterson too. We got a lot of Don Patterson in that, I think. Yeah. That was great fun, man. Well, you know what we were going after? We were going after the Columbus sound.
Remember?
You know, we were talking to one another about, hey, look, there's a Louisiana, there's a New Orleans sound, there's a New York sound, there's a West Coast sound. What about Columbus, Ohio?
What is the Columbus sound? Man, Pete. And
you got the hook.
Man, listen, we could talk now all day about your career. I'd like to ask you just a couple questions to talk about you, you know.
Go for it, yeah.
You know, you've had the chance to interview many of the organ players that I never even got a chance to meet because you were in the scene. I remember when I first started to come into this scene, not that I had been playing music forever, but, you know, when Joey kind of helped me come in, you know, I started looking, and you were one of the first people that I found on the internet because you had it together, too, if you know what I'm talking about. The Doodlin Lounge was already happening. We're talking 20 years ago, 21 years ago.
Yeah.
You had the website. And I looked up to you because I said, this is the guy I got to meet because this is the guy that knows everybody and knows the industry. So
and the irony of it is I don't play. People say, well, sit down and play something for me. No, man, I could comp an F. That's it, you know.
But that's how I found you, was your internet presence. Tell me about some of the most interesting interviews of some of the greatest organ players that you did. Just a couple of little stories for everyone. Okay,
but first let me preface it by saying I've been on the West Coast, you know, all this time. And the action was really in the Midwest where you are. eastward to New York, Newark, Philadelphia, Pittsburgh. So I had to go there, and that's what I started to do. I started to travel. I wanted to meet Wild Bill Davis. I got to be good friends with him and his wife, Barbara. And I got to meet Bill Doggett and Jackie Davis and Sarah McLawler. And I never got to meet Milt Buckner, but all those pre-Jimmy Smith guys, I was really trying to wrap my head around because I wanted to know where Jimmy was coming from, and there was a whole nother world before Jimmy Smith of jazz organ, thanks to Wild Bill Davis.
Yes.
And of course, before that, Count Basie and Fats Waller, who was the granddaddy of jazz organ, the first one to play jazz on the organ. But I needed to meet those folks first. And then I started bringing them out here. I brought Bill Doggett out here, and at the same time, I was getting to know Jimmy because Jimmy Smith was living not too far from me in Sacramento at that period of time. So I would go up to his house, thanks to his wife, Lola. Lola saw that I wanted to meet this guy. She'd see me at all the shows, and she says, you really want to meet Jimmy, huh? I says, yeah, I want to meet Jimmy. So she says, come to the house. And I'll never forget, I showed up at his house with 10 pounds of salsiccia. And the rigatoni. He loved pasta, loves Italian food,
He told my dad that.
Yeah, so he took me in his kitchen. He cooked, man. He cooked me I brought him some hot links, too. And we ate. He had a little cabana on the outside by his pool there. And I got to know him. And then I would go up there whenever I could and play dominoes with him and stuff. So meeting Jimmy Smith was a major step in my education of jazz organ. But that's not to say I didn't learn from MacDuff. Jack MacDuff taught me so much. Jimmy McGriff taught me so much. I didn't get a chance like you to meet Don Patterson. That's a big hole in my jazz organ education. I didn't get a chance to meet Larry Young Jr. I wanted to meet. Yeah, I mean, these guys, if I had started going back east in the 70s, maybe I could have met these folks, but I didn't. I had enough on my plate out here. But meeting and interviewing Wild Bill Davis and, of course, Jimmy Smith and MacDuff and Jimmy McGriff and Hank Marr. I came out to your place to meet Hank because I just thought Hank was a real important cat in the whole legacy, the lineage.
He affected my playing quite a bit, if you want to know the truth. You could hear a lot of Hank and all of us Columbus people because he was the one playing around here,
Yeah. So many jazz organists came out of Ohio, not just Columbus, but Cincinnati and Dayton and Cleveland. And anyhow, it was an ongoing education. And I just felt at that time, somebody needed to pick up the banner and run with it because jazz organ was treated like the redheaded stepsister. I would ask these people that ran these festivals, why don't you have an organist involved? In the beginning, when I got into this game, people knew Jimmy Smith and Shirley Scott. That was it. They didn't know who else was playing this plethora of jazz organists who needed to be heard. And then there was always Booker T, Green Onions. No, it's more than that, man. There's all kinds of stuff happening. You got to listen to this person and this person and this person. So it was my charge to familiarize the listening audience with more and more jazz organists. And that's why I started the Jazz Organ Fellowship, to raise the awareness. And Tony, man, with your help, I think globally, we have raised the awareness of jazz organ,
That's the mission, isn't it?
Oh my God, you've been to Russia, you've been to Indonesia. Where haven't you been?
I go everywhere I can go, man.
Yeah. And the Italians, man, they embraced you.
Oh, I love going to Italy, man. It's fun.
So I don't know if I'm answering your question, but I had a list of people that I wanted to meet and know and get to know. And I also wanted to bring out the great women in this genre, and my contention is there's probably as many, if not more, women organists than there are men. When you consider the church, when you consider how many organists are women in the church.
Yeah.
So it's just a fun area. It's kind of like untapped. It's kind of like finding a vein of gold, and you're just digging it and mining it. And seeing how far and how rich it is.
Wow, you've helped so many people. I mean, Pete, when I say your name personally, I know that it's a heavyweight name. I tell everybody not to use a cliche of my own, but it's kind of a cliche because it's true. You're the Casey Kasem of jazz organ. You know, everybody who knows jazz organ knows you. It's amazing all the people who know about you, Pete.
But still a student, Tony. I'm just a student. I'm learning something every day. And people send me stuff from, now that we have streaming and the internet and this access to Asia and to Eastern Europe and all that, I'm getting, as you are, getting more music coming in and seeing how people are dealing with this American-born phenomenon called jazz organ.
Yes.
Like you always say, it's our music, but it's treasured by the Japanese, by the Chinese, by you anywhere around the world. You see it firsthand.
Well, you've watched the growth from many years. What do you see today, and what's your prediction? What do you see with jazz organ? What do you see with organ?
Well, you know what? Everybody, first of all, I used to always say, and you'd agree with me, Jimmy Smith was like the Louis Armstrong. And if you sat down at the organ, you had a little Jimmy Smith in you. I don't care who you were. Yeah. If you picked up the trumpet, you had a little Louis Armstrong in you, no matter what. Now people who are playing the Hammond tone wheel organ are coming from a more synth or digitized background, right? They're learning first on keyboards, and then they're saying, hey, I'm going to switch over to the beast. I can play the organ too, Mm-hmm. And then they learn the foot pedals and they learn everything else. So they're not coming from the same foundation that you came from and your colleagues and, peers. So not so many people are sitting down and playing like Jimmy Smith anymore. They're trying to do their own thing.
A new thing, right?
A new thing. I interviewed Doug Karn last week for my show, and we talked about this. Yeah, you know Doug very well.
Great guy.
And he was asked by a couple of producers, Adrian Young and Ali Shahid Mohammed, two young cats that have started a label called Jazz is Dead. Yeah, I know. But you know what? This is what the younger generation is trying to do. And I'm thinking with the organ as well, reconfigure jazz. Jazz to them is dead. What we're doing is dead. There's a lot of cats that if they sat in with you and you called a tune, they wouldn't know it because they don't come from the same foundation background that you do.
Generational gap.
So it's kind of like free form these days, and people are doing with the organ what, certainly not what Jimmy Smith modeled for us. Jimmy had that registration, he had that sound, he had such a presence and made such an impact. A lot of people now, they don't have his records in their collection. They're doing a different thing.
That's hard for me.
I remember meeting Bobby Sparks out of Dallas, Texas. Wow. And Bobby was telling me, he says, man, yeah, your jazz is dead, man. We're doing something different. You listen to Corey Henry, you listen to all these cats now that are playing. They're not doing a Jimmy Smith thing.
No, not at all.
They're doing a composite thing, a little church, a little rock, a little hip hop, a little fusion, all this kind of stuff. Maybe if Jimmy were alive today, he'd be doing that too. I don't know.
Keeping up with the time, you kind of would,
Yeah, but it used to be where everybody came out of Jimmy Smith. Now, not so much,
Oh man, I when I listen to new kids playing, or new people coming into the scene, I don't hear much of the Jimmy Smith influence as well. So it's interesting that you said that. But I never put the two and two together. I just thought it was a evolutionary development of the instrument, but it's not even that the way you're saying. It's more like people are coming in from another background and they're just adopting the organ, and then there is no real evolutionary chain. There's just each their own ideas transferred into the instrument. Is that kind of what?
Yeah, I think you're on it. And then of course, whatever happened to the blues? I mean, come on.
This is a whole organ for me. In my school it is.
Yeah, and when you hear something and you don't hear any blues, or you don't hear anything that would even point you in that direction, you're thinking, there's a gap. That's an incomplete sentence for me,
What
man.
about stop changes? What about Leslie Fast and building up solos like, I mean, that was part of for me, learning how to play the organ was not only how to play the percussion sound, but to use the whole instrument as a, celebratory thing. I don't hear much of that either anymore. It's more one sound, unidirectional. What do you think? Is that something you're seeing too?
Yeah, I am seeing that. I asked Michael Kuskuna one time about Larry Young Jr. and why his life came to such a crash. He says, well, he tried to take the organ, which is a Chitlin circuit. This is a black instrument, man. This is something that came out of the church and was adapted to rhythm and blues and gospel. He says, and he tried to take it out into space, with his music. He wanted to go further than Jimmy Smith. Well, I think he needed to stay or get into the keyboard bag with that, because the organ stays where the organ is treasured. It's on this throne. It's by itself. You can't take it and make it do something that it doesn't want to do,
Interesting, yeah.
It's got such tradition in it.
Yes.
So, I mean, as much as I love Larry Young's music, if he had lived, I think he would have stepped away from the Hammond organ, the tone wheel organ, and gotten into some serious advanced technology. Yeah.
You could see that's where he was headed with it,
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, this is what I really wanted to talk about. This is great, Pete. Thank you so much for spending your heart with me today. This is great, man.
Anytime, Tony.
Are you still doing interviews with a lot of organists, or have you even found that your bag has shifted some?
Well, it has shifted some. A lot of folks are not here anymore. And I can't talk to the people. I used to have some great conversations, even with Dr. Lonnie. Dr. like calling.
Yeah, man, you guys are like top friends, man. How is the doctor doing?
Well, he's struggling, man. He's dealing with the effects of a stroke that he had a few years ago, MS that he was diagnosed with, and this pulmonary thrombosis or whatever. So it's about breathing, and it's so ironic that this new CD coming out on Blue Note is called Breathe, and it was recorded when he recorded his last one. So it's not brand new music; it's music from the first record or the last recording session. But how ironic, because breathing, I mean, however you apply that word, when you're breathing during your solos, it's important, but when you step away, you still need to breathe. And I think when that's taken away from you, I feel sorry for my buddy, your buddy too, man. You and Lonnie and Joey, I had you all out here at one time at the same time.
I remember that. It was like
we had so much fun. I had you and Lonnie and Joey in the garage, all on different B3s jamming. That was a trip. That was
God. Yeah, I first met Dr. Lonnie Smith in Florida many, many, many years ago. There was a little ad in the paper that said a jazz jam happening. It was in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. And this was in that time when Oregon hadn't come back yet. It just kind of like dissipated for a minute,
Yeah.
And I remember meeting him, and I asked if I could play. And he says, oh, that's great. He says, I'm glad you could play. I want to see if my organ sounds good, And I played, and then my father fell in love with him, too, because he was playing a regular gig in a place a little bit between Fort Lauderdale and I think the next place was called Hollywood, Florida, somewhere in there. And he was playing this regular date, and my dad really became personal friends with Dr. Lonnie. And then so every time I went down, this was when I was running a construction business. So Oregon for me was kind of in the basement, and I played some wedding gigs or whatever gigs to make extra money time in my life,
Yeah.
And, but I would go hear him, and I always would be revitalized as to why I was an organist, So part of my comeback goes to him, because I always looked up to him as being an innovator and just a great organist. And he can make so much out of the organ. He can make that organ feel so big, with so little.
Yeah.
He was mysterious. So
Yeah.
I love Dr. Lonnie Smith. I was thinking about giving him a call, but I don't like to bother people, especially when they're not feeling well. You know how that is, man.
I know exactly what you mean, man. I've known Lonnie for a long time. I remember we did a show. I produced something for Johnny Hammond Smith at the Monterey Jazz Festival. I think it was like 1995 or something like that. And we had to rent an organ from somebody. It wasn't one of mine. And when we got up there and during the sound check, people were noodling around on it, and it had missing some of the drawbar wire. They weren't. It needed a lot of work, and a lot of folks, you and I both know, they would. I ain't playing that,
It's gonna make.
Dr. Lonnie got on that thing and he made it sound like it was out of a showroom organ. He just played it. He played it with his heart. Never complained about it.
Professional, man. True professional.
That's a whole nother show that you and I could do. The organs that you've played in your, what was that? Julio Iglesias, the women that I've loved, or
to all the girls I loved before.
The organs that I've played before, because I know you've played some dogs.
Oh man, that is another story, isn't it? Wow.
Yeah.
But that's why I always looked up to coming and playing in your backyard, because I always got a premier organ. You still have all those beautiful organs.
I have about 6 B3s, and then I told you I have a XK5. I bought that.
Yeah.
But I gotta tell your listeners the story. You're staying at our place one night, and we both, you and I got in. God, it was maybe 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning, and you were in one of the bedrooms at the end there, my oldest daughter's bedroom when she was younger, and there was an A100 in there. So I'm tired and I'm going to sleep. And I hear this organ out of this bedroom, and it's 3:30 in the morning, and I'm going, "What are you doing, man?" And you say, "I can't sleep with an A100 sitting next to me."
You put me in a room with an A100. What do you expect me to do? I do remember that night, because you came in the room. You were trying to be polite, Yeah. You said, "Hey, man, could you put that on soft?" You said.
Oh,
I'm sorry to keep you up that night, but it was your fault.
Yeah, no, that was fun. But like I said in the outset, I don't play, but I have to have them here ready to go when you come out or when somebody comes out.
We're gonna make it happen again.
Yeah, we've got to.
Well, God bless you, Pete. I'm just so happy to see your spirits are good, and we're going to make some more things happen. As soon as this is over, believe me, I'm getting on a plane. I'm coming to see you. So,
or vice versa.
Yeah, baby. I'm here. The doors are open, man.
Well, thanks for calling and thinking of me, man.
God bless you, Pete. Thank you so much.
God bless.
And listen, please take care of yourself. That's important to me.
I know that's right. Yeah. All right, Tony. Love you, brother.
Love you
Take
too.
care.
Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That's one of the greatest guys on the earth. Pete Fallico, man. Just a super friend of mine. Thank you for having the interview with me, Pete. Let's enjoy some music, ladies and gentlemen. Vineyard. Guess what? Reggie is playing with me that night at Woodlands. Yeah. Let's do some multitasking here for the organ players. Whoops, wrong one. You're welcome, Pete. Yeah. Hey, Louis Jamoose is here. Everybody sing now. I'll be there. Just look over your shoulder, everybody. What? My career was launched by people like this. Pete was very inspirational in helping me get started because he believed in the cause and he knew that I really wanted a piece of it. And so he finally decided to bring me out to California. We did our first show together, and I remember that it was a success because, you know, that's why I'm here today, because it was a success. But it's people like Pete Fallico in my life that have made my career a success. And one of the things that I've learned in this journey as a musician is you can't do this alone. You need the help of everybody. Speaking of the help of everybody, I see that some of you have been gracious to me today. So I'd like to take a moment and thank you. Yes, there's a link down at the bottom of your broadcast if you'd like to do the same. But let me take a moment and thank some of my friends. Paul Vineyard, man, as always, God bless you. Well needed. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Jason Bingham's in the house. Yes, thank you. Debbie Hill and Gordy from Toronto, thank you too. God bless you. It's so nice that you're here. You don't know what that makes me feel like to know that my friends are here watching the show to support me. Ava, God bless you, man. You are an inspiration to me. How's that? I love your spirit, and I love your energy when you come onto the show and talk to everyone. Wow, that's great. David Eggleston, what a great performance on Monday, David. God bless you, too. Thank you so much, man. Wow. So I wanted to prove to Pete that I could sing. Because, man, I like to sing, So I'd like to sing a song. Wow, there's someone else first I must thank. My friend Francois Fiore, God bless you, man. Thank you so much. It's always a pleasure and an honor to have your spirit in my show, right? Right? I hope I don't cry. This song has some very special spiritual meaning to me. If I don't see her, each day I miss her. Gee, what a thrill each time I kiss her. Believe me, I've got a case on Nancy with the laughing face. She takes winter and makes it summer. Summer could take some lessons from her. Picture a tomboy in lace, my Nancy with the laughing face. If you ever hear mission bells ringing, well, she'll give you the very same glow. When she speaks, you would think she was singing, just to hear her say hello. I swear to goodness, you can't resist her. Sorry for you, she has no sister. No angel could replace my Nancy with the laughing face. Betty Grable, Lamore and Turner. She'll make your heart a charcoal burner. No angel can replace my Nancy with a laughing face. That's Nancy with a laughing face. Oh, yeah. It has a spiritual value to me, that song, and it always chokes me up, sorry, to get emotional, but music is emotion. Music is life. Music, to me, is everything. And I thank you for joining the show. It was wonderful. I feel very emotional right now. It was so wonderful to see my friend Pete, to know that he's glad that he's healthy. And please, Pete, say hello to Joanne. I love your whole family. You guys you're my family. You know, every time I came out there, and in the future, I know it's going to happen again, you open your doors, and Joanne starts cooking for me, and it's just like being home. And you've helped my career, so I just want to thank you. I want this on tape forever, okay, Pete? You take care of yourself. All right, everybody. On Friday, I got a special show because I'm bringing in Tony McClung and Eddie Baird on the saxophone, and we're going to revisit what I like to think about was the change in Jimmy Smith's sound. Jimmy Smith came on the scene, a young, aggressive, bringing on a whole new style. And when you look at the Club Baby Grand recordings and Groovin' at Smalls and all those interesting early recordings. But then he hooked up with Stanley Turrentine, and he was already hooked up with Donald Bailey on the drums. And they did a series of recordings back at the Chicken Shack, Midnight Special. And in my opinion, he changed his style so much. It was like a drastic change in the sound of Jimmy Smith. And I would assume that there was some A&R going on. In other words, some sculpting of what to play and how to play, because he went to a different little place. If it would be the right word, I would like to say that it was like an introduction to contemporary jazz, because he toned it back and he played real soulful. And I started a play-along series. I want to take you to my website, b3monaco.com. And if you're interested in acquiring some of these play-alongs, just go to my educational page, and you'll see that I just started introducing them. But you can actually listen to the whole set before you buy it, and they include 6 different mixes. One with no bass, so you can practice bass. One with no keys, so you can practice the keys while I play the bass. One with no keys or bass, so you could play the whole organ around my trio. One with no drums, so if you're a drummer, you can play along. And one with no sax or guitar, depending who was my guest. So if you go to my YouTube channel, their link is down there. I would hope that you'd come and you subscribe. And if you go to youtube.com, of course, and look up Tony Monaco Favorites, And if you go to the playlists, I've got a couple of exciting things for you. Of course, there's the playlist I put up of what we're going to cover on Friday for the Play Along series, the original tunes that were recorded by Jimmy Stanley and Donald Bailey. Let me just not play it, but just give you the list of tunes. Prayer Meeting, Subtle One, Jumpin' the Blues, When I Grow Too Old to Dream, Back at the Chicken Shack, and Minor Chant. But let me take you back to the playlist section. If you take a look at the playlists called Play Along Samples, you can go in there, and I put a whole bunch of free play-alongs already in there for you to play along with, right? You see the chord charts and everything. But I also put these play-along reference tracks so you could check them out before you decide to purchase. And by the way, they're only like $5, man, and you get a whole hour worth of tunes and all of those mixes. So please visit b3monaco.com, go to the educational page, and for just $5 on your credit card, you could be really playing along with a lot of the stuff that I have. And you can also preview them there, just for your information. Also, you know I love to sell educational stuff because I love to teach. So you could visit and buy some of my older catalog, like the DVDs that are now in download form. You can instantly get gratification, instant gratification. And, of course, I have some download-only products. And if you're a member of my school, when you go to the educational page, you could take a free 3-day trial. Some of those files that you really like and you want to study the MIDI data, I have those files right down here. You can actually take a 3-day $4.99 rental, and if you've already taken advantage of the 3 days and you want to go back and check out some of the new teaching sessions, these are the groups that I offer. And if you want to become an active member of the group, I'll show you here in a minute, but you can buy everything. The video, the MIDI file, the MP3 file, the Meticulous file, everything for just $5. See, I got a lot of deals for you over there. So please visit. If you're interested in online lessons, man, you know I love to teach, and I offer an introductory $30 an hour lesson. And you get it all recorded, and the personality that you see on this video is the personality you're going to get. That's correct. And once again, if you'd like to support me, please visit the support page, and you can use your credit card and actually give me a gift without being a member of PayPal or Venmo or Cash App, as I like to call it, the cash cow. Wow, thank you for joining me today. I got to come out of here with some music, not just gab, right? Who needs that? So how about if I swing? I like to swing something, okay? I'm going to take it on the medium up category. I haven't played this in a while, so I hope you enjoy this. Oops, wrong groove. Sorry about that. That's the one I want. God bless you all. We'll see you real soon. Thank you. Hey, Nunya, thank you so much for your kindness. Time to do some swanging, and there's still time to do some gifting. You came along from out of nowhere. You took my heart to find me there. I love you all. God bless you. I hope you have a wonderful St. Patrick's Day. Be safe, be responsible, and be here on Friday. Thank you. And yeah. God bless you all. Thank you for joining. We'll see you soon.